There you go. This is why we need a camera assistant here. Okay, so now it's in this.
Just need an auto prompt. Oh, you're gonna keep your notes by you, eh?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm gonna cheat this time.
I thought you said that didn't look good.
Yeah, well, check my mind. Like you do with the tea.
You wouldn't let me do that when I wanted to do it.
All right, so.
My pete's coffee from San Francisco.
It's from
You've got the Bewley's coffee mug, which is from Dublin.
Okay.
Next time you can bring some mugs.
Yeah, I'll bring all the mugs here.
You get the biggest one of them.
So let's look at that. 205. So around 210, 212, no more than that.
So
Right.
quarter past. We're looking at 16.
Well, that's 10 minutes. We try not to do 10 minutes. We try to do 5, 6 minutes.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
10 minutes already.
Fine. Excellent. Sorry, I was. Yeah. I was. How's my hair?
That's okay.
All right. So 11.
Yeah, around there.
11, 12.
12.
Okay. Okay.
So why don't you say hello to people this time around?
Yeah, I've got a
That's a
shine
mic.
out. That's
You
what
got camera shy.
Yes.
Well, hello guys. Hello once more, and with me once again I got Ian Thomas, and I'm Louis Michael, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about Falling Down, a movie from 1993 by Joel Schumacher, director which later on became infamously popularized by his Batman takes, and I would say that for every Falling Down, there is a Batman and Robin, and forever for every phone booth, which is another similar movie did back in the 2000s. There is a Phantom of the Opera, isn't it? It's a weird, uneven career that Schumacher has.
Yes. Mostly uneven.
What kind of vigilante are you? I am not a vigilante. I am just trying to get home to my little girl's birthday.
And the movie starts Michael Douglas and Robert Duvall with Barbara Hershey as well. In what I'll say is a very tight, nicely cast movie. Do you want to just give our viewers a taste of what the story is about?
Yes, absolutely. The movie starts with a character stuck in a car in a traffic jam in a sweltering Los Angeles heatwave, and he cracks. He gets out of the car and he just walks off, and he says he's going home. The next we see of him, he's making a phone call because his plan is to go across town to see his wife and his daughter on her birthday. They're divorced, and in fact there's a restraining order preventing him from seeing them. Now he phones her and is unable to speak to her, and because of that he has to make another phone call. He's run out of change. He needs to go and get change from a convenience store, and this starts a whole chain of events which send him on a journey, a literal journey and a psychological journey that will take him to Venice Beach, across sort of unpleasant areas of Los Angeles to see his wife. And that basically is the opening premise of the movie. Just to say quickly, there are two parallel plot lines, one which follows him and one which follows a detective played by Robert Duvall, who's also stuck in the same traffic jam. And as we'll probably talk about their story arcs take different trajectories. And as we probably talked about, their story arcs take different trajectories.
This bit I will put clips, movie clips.
Oh,
of, you know?
yeah.
That's why I
Just to try and keep them awake.
Yeah, it is true because the attention span of these people is 12 seconds, so you gotta grab them while it's hot. Well, Falling Down is one of those movies, and it's a typical 90s movie. It's a decade that I've always been a bit conflicted with. There's some good stuff that came out of it, and some stuff which was way too mainstream and too linear for my taste. Falling Down, interestingly enough, falls almost like in a second category. I mean, at first view, this could be just considered a vehicle for Douglas, which, you know, was coming out from the hits that he had in the 80s, Wall Street, Fatal Attraction. And he goes into more kind of a method acting at this time, I would say.
It's a brave role for him to take.
Yeah, but it is.
It's a bit of a departure.
It's a very meaty role for anyone taking it. But Joel Schumacher coming onto the scene with this, it really is exceptionally. It's one of those movies that actually holds his weight very well, and the sum of his parts, he gives the audience something to think about, to go home and actually actively talk about.
Yes, I think as we've spoken about, you could probably see it in terms of being in the genre of the vigilante movie, like Death Wish and Dirty Harry to an extent. But this character, it's a darker journey. Although, you know, narratively he's the hero, it's a story of a character's descent and to becoming the tyrant. So we know that the movie's not going to end in a good place.
It is a tragedy, so the two main features of classic theatre, you either have a tragedy or a comedy. This one is a tragedy, so the hero in the end doesn't end up having a very good fight. But again, it is the voyage that we're interested in, the journey. And for me, it's always been something we were discussing before this episode. And for me, the movie is perpetually in conflict, in trying to represent the hero both as a hero and as the villain at the same time. So it is kind of is a difficult chemistry going on in the script, but he's pulled off very well. I mean, yeah, you mentioned that he's in the same vein of the vigilante movies. I mean, Douglas dresses up as a guy out of time, very square, very uptight, like something out of the 50s or the 60s. But the movie believes in that same urban grittiness that some of the movies of the 70s had. And I think he brings from that decade the environment as well. I mean, most of the cars in this movie, they're kind of Buicks and Cadillacs. You probably would find in a crime fighting movie from the 70s. And also the city is presented as one of the main antagonists, with all the smog, the pollution, the dirt, and the filth. A lot of the antagonists, and most of the characters in this movie, or probably all of them, are antagonists in one way or another to our hero. They're all they've been polished. They've been polished to become the 90s representations of slightly more seedier characters, nastier characters that you probably would find in those exploitation movies or the vigilante movies again of the 70s. It's a slightly more polished product of what you would have found in a flick from 2 decades before. But that is exactly the equilibrium that this script and the direction of this movie maintains, in being able to really win into that grittiness, still with the flair and the flavor of slightly more modern times, but in the end it's still something that encapsulates high drama, and the premise is quite strong.
You go now. No trouble.
I stay. What do you think of that?
God.
Where you go?
Get back. What do you do? Get back. No. Go. Go. Let go. Jesus Christ.
is this? The last stand on Fiji?
Take the money! Take the money!
What?
Take the money! Take the money!
Take your hands away from your McKenners!
Take the money!
Stop it! I speak slowly and distinctly.
Take the money!
You think I'm a thief? No. See, I'm not the thief. I'm not the one charging 85 cents for a stinking soda! You're the thief!
Camera work in this movie. Pretty good. Pretty good photography. The city is shot as this monster. As Douglas goes from scene to scene, kind of shearing up the scenery, literally and visually and psychologically, he enhances his weaponry from a baseball bat to a knife, from a knife to automatic guns, and the music ominously starts building up on that.
It's a bit like a mirror version of the hero getting his sword and his talisman and his shield and his armor. In this case, Douglas is getting weapons, and he ends up putting on a sort of rather unpleasant khaki uniform, which he picks up from a store, described as one character as looking like G.I. Joe. Now, just to mention the cinematography, and apologies if I pronounce his name incorrectly, it's Andrei Bartkowiak, and it's probably the best work he's done. It's really quite remarkably good camera work. Lewis has already spoken about sort of that feeling of heat and intensity you get visually from it. But I mean, there's a certain grammar to all the scenes that he films too, starting from sort of very wide, open shots. As the action develops, it becomes much closer, closing reverse shots, and then opening up again. There's a great diagonal shot that uses diagonals when Douglas goes to the army surplus store, which starts off with a very colourful mural on the side of a building, which then turns into a mural of mercenaries and weaponry, which sort of visually marks a very marked change in the narrative flow of the film at that time.
And also the opening shot, man. The opening shot.
Can't forget that. It's a bravura shot, isn't it?
Starting with Douglas out of his car, so he straight away presents the main character, how he dresses, his suitcase, so he sees a man going to work, he sees a traffic jam, and that first sound that hits the audience, because it's very muted up to then, is the sound of sizzling, and the camera shows the exhaust pipes, and you can almost feel like some bacon being fried on the bonnets of the cars, and you straight away can show the exhaustion of the character, and then the camera just goes around all these cars, passing convertibles, passing buses, showing all these people frustrated in the traffic jams. So straight away puts you there. And not only that, not only introduces your hero, introduces the other main character, which is played by Robert Duvall, Detective Pendergast.
Prendergast, you got time to take a statement? I know it's your last day and you want to get home before you get killed and all, but...
Yeah, Brian, I'm still working here.
Okay, well, this guy's a little excited. Okay. Mr. Lee, come on in.
여기 온거 제일 못했는데, huh? 쌍놈.
What do you say, Brian?
못 왔다.
You know, I don't know. Mr. Lee is Korean. I happen to be Japanese in case you never bothered to notice.
Sorry.
Mr. Lee, speak English, okay?
Sure.
Sit down. This man will help you. Mr. Lee owns a small market. Okay, he was hit less than an hour ago. Sorry, Mr. Lee. No smoking?
Smoke.
감사합니다.
Okay, Mr. Lee, let's just start off with what he looked like. Okay.
White man, white shirt, tie,
What color was his tie?
cut off?
Yeah.
I don't know cut off. The guy attacked me, okay? He bust up my store. I'm lucky to be alive.
Okay, let's just try and relax, Mr. Lee. Now, what did he steal from you?
Did not steal. Attack me, okay? Say you're gonna fix my prices. Bust up my merchandise.
He didn't rob you?
The guy crazy. I told him, take my money. He say no. He called me thief. Then he break up my merchandise. Then he buy a soda and take off.
He bought a soda, you mean he paid for it?
That's a character that I never sympathized much with. Well, obviously he serves his purpose, but I got a particular opinion about him, but you have a different one, right?
Yeah, I sort of see Duval's character very much as sort of the moral centre of the story. I've remarked before about how Douglas and Duval actually follow parallel courses in their narratives. I mean, Duval's character starts out on a day that he's due to retire from the police force, which is a bit of a cliche, I think, in narrative terms. But he's taking an early retirement because he basically wants to step back and have a quieter life. And during the course of the narrative, he's basically brought out again to become a more proactive figure and a less passive figure. It's a sort of performance that we've seen from Duval probably on a number of occasions. Douglas's performance is obviously a much bigger ask because his character moves far more psychologically than Duval's one does.
That's a good thing you just said. You use the word cliche, and that's the thing that this movie, for me, it kind of walks a very thin line, which was a little bit of a problem with a lot of the 90s movies. They kind of became cliches of themselves, and this goes down to the script and down to the characters as well. And this movie, it has the presence of being able to break down the cliche and go just enough of a step forward just to make the script and the characters a little bit richer. And that's why I think Falling Down kind of separates itself from the many other descendants of movies of the 90s that kind of also try to be a bit bolder and a little bit more progressive. But then it just fell into this usual cliche pit, which is something that eventually impoverishes the sort of product that the American cinema was doing mostly in the 90s. And this one he's just playing the right notes at the right time.
I'm gonna have some lunch. Could I have a double whammy burger with cheese? You getting this?
Yes, sir.
And an order of whammy fries. And, let me see, a choco wham shake.
Yes, sir. Sheila, get his order.
Rick, could you get it for me, please? I feel more comfortable now calling you Rick after all we've been through together. How you doing? Enjoying your meal? How about you, son? Is it good? And you, ma'am? How's the food? I think we have a critic. I don't think she likes the special sauce, Rick. That's a joke. Here we go. Thank you. See, this is what I'm talking about. Turn around, look at that. You see what I mean? It's plump, it's juicy, it's 3 inches thick. Now, look at this sorry, miserable, squashed thing. Can anybody tell me what's wrong with this picture? Anybody? Anybody at all?
And casting is perfect. You can't imagine anyone else in any of the parts, even from the cameos and all the supporting cast. And the only thing that annoys me in the Val, although obviously serves its purposes, like you're saying, is the foil to Douglas' character. Is the guy that has been able to put up with whatever society throws at him, and still have a moral center. And even if he's not behaving for what society wants him, how society wants him to behave, he's still behaving in a way that allows him to survive. While Douglas obviously is the guy that snaps and decides to take things to an extreme. The only thing is that, and again, bringing back the cliche, every single character is a cliche of itself. But that's obviously the things that the audiences, when watching this movie, are going to feel inclined or not to support or not. Because for me, Duval is a facsimile of the company man, the yes man, the guy that that follows suit no matter what. But again, in the end, he has a bit of a redemption. He kind of says no to his superior and says no to his wife, which seems to be an overpowering woman. So again, he's got his own arc. He's got his own redemption in the end of the movie.
Both characters start out basically with a trauma that's dominating their lives. I mean, for Douglas, it's the fact that he's separated from his family and he's lost his job. With Duval, it's the difficulties with his marriage because they'd lost a child and they haven't really coped with the bereavement from that. And there's a sort of a link there between him and Douglas, who no longer has access to his daughter. And it's a motif, the child, the daughter, is one that actually recurs during the film quite effectively.
I think a movie like this is more resonant today than, almost 30 years ago. The character Douglas is playing, the middle-aged white man. Today, more than ever, something that actually became quite exposed with Trump's recent election, is that there's been a considerable pushback from what we could call the liberal side of the aisle, not just in America, but certain other parts of the Western countries, that this is slowly what is perceived to be a generation that is dying off. Like Douglas saying in one of the scenes, as he takes unwillingly a family that is caretaking a house as hostages, he mentions that he's overskilled and undereducated, or actually he might be confused and he's the other way around. But bottom line is, he's not economically viable, just like another character we see earlier on in the movie complaining in front of a bank. But that character happens to be a younger black man. So, I mean, I think the premise of a character like this speaks to everyone at any age.
A universal character.
Yeah, a universal premise, a universal dramatic premise, in which the working class man or the lower middle class man has trouble in going through life. So you will have economic problems, family problems, education, jobs, money. But there's an interesting way that the script deals with that situation. So again, Douglas being presented as both the hero and almost like a villain. He starts taking his anger on a lot of minorities. So the first man he attacks is a Korean bloke in a 7-Eleven shop, and after that he decides to take his aim to a group of Hispanic gang members. Following that, he just starts hustling people in a Whammies diner, which I think is because they couldn't use Wendy's. But eventually he actually gets to a very important scene, which is obviously the point of no return, which he clearly mentions in a phone call to his ex-wife. Again, one of those cliches, it's just in case the audience was not picking up on, he actually spells it out, but everything is done very stylized, and that's why I always give a pass to a lot of the scenes in this movie. But he actually, the only person he kills is what you could call a white nationalist, an actually literal neo-Nazi guy.
Why are you showing me this?
I'm not. That's just for fun. You can keep that. This is what I want to show you. The real thing. Heat-seeking shoulder fired is fucking disposable. You could take out a jumbo jet with one of these monkeys. It's for you. I want you to have it.
Why?
Because I'm with you. Don't you get it? I was listening to the police scanner. I heard about the whammy burger. Fucking fantastic. It was a bunch of niggers, wasn't it? On TV, it's always nice-looking white kids. But when you go in there, it's nothing but a bunch of fucking niggers. And they'll spit on your food if you're not nice to them. I know all about it. I'm with you. We're the same, you and me. We're the same, don't you see?
We are not the same. I'm an American. You're a sick asshole.
So just like the more traditional side of the aisle, there's some sort of human traits to this white middle-aged man character. He's not just taking his anger on minorities that could be below him. He's leveling the playing field as, again, the only person that he actually executes is another white man, which is much worse than him. A guy that is clearly a racist and homophobic as well.
I think the movie presses a sort of a few buttons that are really quite uncomfortable. It treads a fairly delicate line between drama and some darkly comic moments. There are some actually quite humorous moments, including the scene in the burger place. Mm-hmm. Although, as we're talking about as well, that it's also very dark too, because he sort of shoots up the place and terrifies the customers. And as I say,
mistake, it's a very
unintentionally. And of course, as we were saying, that in the light of more recent history, this has taken a far more sinister tone than it probably had at the time. And in fact, in some ways, it's a film that's quite ahead of its time in the sense of the way that it sort of portrays the alienation of characters in society. And in a way, that's the overriding theme, I believe, of the film is one about really betrayal of characters that were brought up in the context of the film in the heyday of America. Mm-hmm. It's sort of golden age of the 1950s and the 1960s, and how they sort of felt betrayed in middle age by basically being cast aside. And in some ways, I think this taps into sort of those sort of the darker feelings of Trump's America too.
What the hell?
Oh, it must be the groundskeeper.
Well, if he is, he's out of uniform. Hey, you there! What are you doing there?
Just passing through.
Nobody said you could play through. Get off my home.
Oh, Frank, he said he was passing through.
He's not even a member. Look at the way he's dressed, for Christ's sake. Would you get off my golf course?
I am.
He is.
Go back the way you came.
Frank, listen, I don't like the looks of this guy. Leave him alone, will you?
Listen, what am I paying my fucking dues for? This is my golf course. If I want to play here, I will play here, you understand? If he gets hit with my Titleist, that's his fucking problem.
Don't yell at me. I'm just here playing with you, for Christ's sake. That's the ball. You want to...
Four! Four!
Five!
Wait a minute. Whoa.
What the hell are you trying to do? Kill me with a golf ball? Is that enough? You got all these beautiful acres fenced in for your little game, but you gotta kill me with a golf ball? You should have children playing here. You should have families having picnics. You should have a goddamn petting zoo. Instead, you got these stupid electric carts for you old men with nothing better to do?
Frank, what's wrong, Frank? Frank, are you okay?
Aren't you ashamed of yourself?
Oh, my God!
And this is why I feel this is a movie that could have been done in the 70s, but definitely not in the 80s, though. They were too high to realize they were in any sort of trouble back then.
It's rather ironic, actually, because the decade of the 90s was actually quite an economically successful one in America.
There was quite a lot of stability throughout in most countries in the West, but, still towards the end, kind of and this is still filmed in 93, but that's why it's almost like a movie out of his time. Well, I think, there's much more we could say about this movie. Definitely check it out if you've never had the chance to. Falling Down by Joel Schumacher. And it's one of the good movies in the 90s that definitely most people might not have actually given enough attention. But that's all for us for today. And have yourselves a good evening or a good morning or a good afternoon, depending on where you're watching this. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, put the comments down below. Tell us we were completely wrong in our assessment or that you love us, we're your favorite guys. And then you can buy our t-shirts and our caps. We're soon going to be having them in an online store, all right? Till then, bye-bye.
Bye.
You're lying. What's wrong with the street?
Nothing.
I knew it. See? I knew it was fine. But I'll give you something to fix.
Oh, Jesus, man, what the hell? Here! What are you... Hey, Charlie! Oh, please, man!
Charlie, we got a goddamn nut here! You! That fucking guy back there with a bazooka!
Gotta pull that thing off.
What thing?
That thing. Pull it off and then pull on both ends. The whole thing gets bigger.
Like this?
Yeah. Now flip that thing up. It's kind of like your aimer.
How do you know about this?
Oh, I saw it on TV. Hey, man, what's the name of the movie?
Huh?
What's the name of the movie you're making?
Under construction. You like it?
Yeah, it's all right. Now, where's the cameras?
The camera's run. All right, just stand back. All right. All right, what do I do now?
Well, just look through the camera what you're aiming at. Hey, man, what you aiming at?
That, the yellow monster down there.
Yeah, well, look at it and pull the trigger. It's really easy.
Where's the trigger?
It's that one right there. But aim first, man.
Okay.
Look out!
Nothing happened.
Must have been a dud or something like that.
Well, again, if you want to do it again, you can do it again. You want to do that bit again? No. I think it's fine.
You think it's already?
I'll just do the plug here. Yeah. People are looking at the pictures, you know, so they're not listen to what you're saying.
That's the main thing.
All right, man. Anyway.